Hello friends, welcome to Physics Live channel. Today we are discussing Introductory Nuclear Physics by Crane. First unit, Basic Nuclear Structure. Basic Nuclear Structure. Okay, so in this chapter, it discusses the basic concepts. Okay, so what it's chapter all about? Whether we date the origin of nuclear physics from Becquerel's discovery of radioactivity in 1896. So, Becquerel's discovery of radioactivity in 1896. Okay. Or Rutherford's hypothesis of existence of nucleus in 1911. Okay. So, Rutherford hypothesized about the existence of nucleus. Okay, so the 2 points are clear. It is clear that the experimental and theoretical studies in nuclear physics have played a prominent role in the development of 20th century physics. Okay, as a result of these studies, a chronology of which is given on the inside of the front cover of this book. We have today a reasonably good understanding of the properties of nuclei and of the structure that is responsible for those properties. Furthermore, techniques of nuclear physics have important applications in nuclear physics have been applied to the understanding of an incredible variety of problems. From the interactions of quarks, the most fundamental particles of which matter are composed of. Okay, so what about the quarks? Quarks is the most fundamental particle of matter is composed. Okay, interactions of the processes that occurred during the early evolution of the universe just after Big Bang. Today, physicians use techniques learned from nuclear physics experiments to perform diagnosis and therapy in areas deep inside the body without recourse to surgery. But other techniques learned from nuclear physics experiments are used to build fearsome weapons of mass destruction whose proliferation is a constant threat to our future. No other field of science comes readily to mind in which theory encompasses so broad a spectrum, from the most microscopic to the cosmic, nor is there another field in which direct applications of basic research contain the potential for the ultimate limits of good and evil. So, the applications of nuclear physics is just discussed in that paragraph. Nuclear physics lacks a coherent theoretical formulation that would permit us to analyze and interpret all phenomena in a fundamental way. Atomic physics has such a formulation in quantum electrodynamics, which permits calculations of some observable quantities to more than 6 significant figures. As a result, we must discuss nuclear physics in a phenomenological way using a different formulation to describe each different type of phenomenon such as alpha decay, beta decay, direct reactions or fission. Within each type, our ability to interpret experimental results and predict new results is relatively complete, yet the methods and formulation that apply to one phenomenon often are not applicable to another. In place of a single unifying theory, there are islands of coherent knowledge is a sea of seemingly uncorrelated observations. Some of the most fundamental problems of nuclear physics, such as exact nature of the forces that hold the nucleus together, are yet unsolved. In recent years, much progress has been made toward understanding the basic force between quarks that are the ultimate constituent of matter, and indeed attempts have been made applying this knowledge to nuclei, but these efforts have thus far not contributed to the clarification of nuclear properties. Okay, so here the paragraph discusses the problem of one of the fundamental problem of nuclear physics, such as exact nature of forces that hold nuclear together. That means what is the force behind the nuclear together. So that is not resolved, and that is unsolved yet. Okay, so the basic forces between quarks should be understood from the recent years. Okay, so first efforts are going on, and we need clarifications in that problems. So we must know about the fundamental problem of nuclear physics, that is we have to know the exact nature of forces that hold the nucleus together. We therefore adopt in this text the phenomenological approach, discussing each type of measurement, the theoretical formulation used in its analysis, and the insight into nuclear structure gained from its interpretation. We begin with a summary of the basic concepts of nuclear theory and then turn to the experiments that contribute to our knowledge of structure, first radioactive decay and then nuclear reactions. Finally, we discuss special topics that contribute to microscopic nuclear structure, the relationship of nuclear physics to other disciplines, and application to other areas of research and technology. So, this is only about what is the contents of the chapter or the type of this book as discussed in the previous paragraph. First paragraph is about the history and overview. The search for the fundamental nature of matter had its beginnings in the speculations of the early Greek philosophers, in particular Democritus. Democritus is a Greek philosopher in the 4th century BC, believed that each kind of material could be subdivided into smaller and smaller bits until one reached the very limit beyond which no further division was possible, the atom of material, invisible to the naked eye. So, Democritus concluded that the material is subdivided into smaller and smaller, and they reached a limit point, that is the atom, which is we can't see with the naked eye. So, Democritus was concluded the basic constituent of particles of matter is the atom. For the next 2400 years, that huge years, this idea remained only a speculation until investigators in the early 19th century applied the methods of experimental science to this problem, and from their studies obtained the evidence needed to raise the idea of atomism to the level of a full-fledged scientific theory. So, after 2400 years, the idea is just remained only a speculation until investigators they can't get the idea, and early 19th century they started experiments in this idea, and they raise an idea of atomism to the level of a full-fledged scientific theory. Today, with our tendency toward the specialization and compartmentalization of science, we would probably classify these early scientists, Dalton, Avogadro, Faraday, as chemists. Once the chemists had elucidated the kinds of atoms, the rules governing their combinations in matter, and their symmetric classification by Mendeleev's periodic law, it was only natural that the next step would be a study of fundamental properties of individual atoms of various elements, an activity that would today classify as atomic physics. So, tendency, uh, the early scientists can be classified into Dalton, Virgato, and Faraday, and these chemists governing the combinations of matter, systematic classification by Mendeleev's periodic law. That is very important. Okay, systematic classification by Mendeleev's periodic law. These are the steps followed from this idea, and there is a next step, that is the fundamental properties of individual atoms and various elements and their activity and classification, which is classified into the category of atomic physics. This study led to the discovery in 1896 by Becquerel of the radioactivity of certain species of atoms, and to the further identification of radioactive substance by Curie in 1898. So, after this atomic physics, 1896, Becquerel discovered the radioactivity of certain elements of atoms and further identified the radioactive substances by Curie in 1898. Rutherford next took up the study of these radiations and their properties. Once he had achieved an understanding of the nature of the radiations, he turned them around and used them as probes of the atoms themselves. In the process, he proposed in 1911 the existence of the atomic nucleus, the confirmation of which provide a new branch of science, nuclear physics. So, after Curie, Rutherford had taken a next step to study these radiations and properties, and he achieved an understanding that the nature of radiations, and he used atoms, and he proposed the existence of atomic nucleus and confirmed by experiments by Geiger and Martin, and above all these experiments, a new branch of science is provided, that is nuclear physics. So this is just an introduction of nuclear physics, the history of this nuclear physics. So after atomic physics, the discovery of Becquerel and Curie, and after Rutherford, and the confirmation of nucleus, and a branch of science, that is nuclear physics, dedicated to studying matter at its most fundamental level. We are studying in the most fundamental level. Investigations into present. In the 1940s and 1950s, it was discovered that there was yet another level of structure even more elementary and fundamental than the nucleus. In 1940s and 1950s, it was discovered that there was yet another level of structure even more fundamental than nucleus, that is more fundamental than nucleus is present. Studies of this particle that contribute to the structure at this level are today carried out in the realm of elementary particles and high energy physics or high energy physics. So nucleus is not a fundamental. We have more fundamental particles are there. These nowadays called as elementary particles physics or high energy physics. Thus nuclear physics can be regarded as the descendant of chemistry and atomic physics, and in turn a progenitor of particle physics. So it is in a very dependent on chemistry, atomic physics, and particle physics. Although nuclear physics no longer occupies central stage in the search for the ultimate components of matter, experiments with nuclei continue to contribute to the understanding of basic interactions. Investigations of nuclear properties and the laws governing the structure of the nuclei is an active and productive area of physical research in its own right, and practical applications such as smoke detectors, cardiac pacemakers, and medical imaging devices have become common. So, after investigations of nuclear properties, we have a productive area of physical research. And physical applications are that is smoke detectors, cardiac pacemakers, and medical imaging devices, and more applications from this nuclear physics research. Thus, nuclear physics has in reality three aspects: probing the fundamental particles and their interactions, classifying the interpreting the properties of nuclei, and providing technological advances that benefit the society. So, nuclear physics can be studied from these three aspects. That is, we are probing and fundamental particles, and we are studying interactions and interpreting the properties of nuclei, and providing the technologies which is benefit to this society. So this is all about nuclear physics, and next we are going to some introductory terminology. Some introductory terminology, which is some basic concepts, are providing here. So that is some introductory terminology. A nuclear species is characterized by the total amount of positive charge in the nucleus. We know that there is a nuclear species which is characterized by a total amount of positive charge, okay, of the nucleus by its total number of mass units. Okay, so we know that an atomic nuclei which has an atomic number Z and mass number A. The net nuclear charge is equal to plus Z E. E is the fundamental charge, that is in a charge of an electron, where Z is an atomic number, E is the magnitude of electronic charge. The fundamental positively charged particle in the nucleus is the proton. Okay, so we know that inside nucleus we have protons and neutrons. Fundamentally positive charged particles which is inside nucleus, that is proton, which is in the which is the nucleus of the simplest atom, that is hydrogen. We know that hydrogen is the simplest atom, nucleus of the simplest atom, which is proton. We know that inside a hydrogen only one proton, so proton can also be defined as a nucleus of a simplest atom, that means hydrogen. A nucleus of atomic number Z therefore contains 8 protons, and an electrically neutral atom therefore must contain 8 negatively charged electrons. So if you are considering a neutral atom, we are we should know about that is set protons, and also equal to there is existing a set electrons, because the charge is neutral, so the equal number of protons and electrons. Since the mass of electrons is negligible compared with the proton mass, because we know that proton mass mp is equal to 2000 me, that is mass of electron which is very small, and 2000 times is that equivalent to this mass of proton. So the mass of electron which is negligible, the electron can often be ignored in discussions of mass of an atom. The mass number of a nuclear species indicated by symbol A. A is the mass number. E is the integer nearest to the ratio between nuclear mass and the fundamental mass unit. Defines so that proton has a mass of nearly 1 unit. Okay, we have taken that this proton has nearly 1 unit. For nearly all nuclei, A is greater than Z. We can see that the atomic mass which is greater than atomic mass which is very greater, usually greater than the atomic number, in most cases by a factor of 2 or more. Thus there must be other massive components in the nucleus. Before 1932, it was believed that nucleus contained a protons in order to provide the proper mass. Okay, we are considering or we believed that atomic mass numbered protons inside the nucleus, but the actual is we know that there is another particles are there, that is neutrons, along with the minus set nuclear electrons to give a net positive charge of Zd. However, the presence of electrons within the nucleus is unsatisfactory for several reasons. So we just believe that is A protons are present there and A minus set electrons inside the nucleus before. but it is unsatisfactory because the nuclear electrons would need to be bound to the protons by a very strong force, stronger even than Coulombic force. Yet no evidence for the strong force exists between protons and atomic electrons. So for that, uh, A minus said electrons are there and A protons are there. So the nuclear electrons should be bound by the electrons by very strong force, stronger than Coulombic force. These strong force, there is no evidence there is. So the assumption which is unsatisfactory. And then if we were to confine electrons in the region space as small as the nucleus, that is, we know that nucleus size, which is delta x, is approximately equal to 10 raised to minus 40 meter. The uncertainty principle would require that these electrons have a momentum distribution with a range delta p is approximately is equal to h cross by delta x, that is equal to 20 mega electron volt per coulomb. So if you confine electron in a small place, that is nucleus, which have a small size, that is 10 raised to minus 40 meter. So by this small space, by uncertainty principle, we know that delta p is equal to h cross by delta x. So electrons that are emitted from the nucleus in a radioactive beta decay have energies greater than 1 MeV. So because we get a momentum distribution from this nucleus, that is 20 MeV. So never do we see decayed electrons with the 20 MeV energies. Thus the existence of 20 MeV electrons in the nucleus is not confirmed by observation. Okay, so we got that is, if we consider the electrons inside the nucleus, we get that is momentum as 20 MeV per coulomb. So by